Hi guys, this is Kris from KVM Design. I'm so excited. Leslie Swink is back with us. I don't know if you remember, but last year I interviewed her already back when I was in Thailand. So a lot has changed. But Leslie is a social media manager. She does strategy for interior designers, and she has a new course coming out soon. So I wanted to have her back and talk a little bit more about who she is, what she does, who she helps, and how this course is going to help interior designers. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, how are you, Kris?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So happy to have you back. So I think, for the people who haven't seen the previous interview, it would be nice to have a quick introduction and maybe just tell us what the main problem is that you see with interior designers who use social media to get more clients.
Sure, yeah. I am the founder of Swing Social Co., and we do offer social media management services for interior designers, and we specialize in Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. And I noticed that when clients were coming to me needing some help, what the biggest problem was is there was just no clear strategy. They didn't know where to start. They weren't even really sure how to put one together. And as I worked with these designers and other business owners, I've kind of put together a framework, and it's a four-part framework. And while it's the same for everybody, as each individual goes through it, that strategy is going to be very unique to their business because everybody's goals are different. Everybody's brand is different. Everybody's ideal client is going to look different. So it's a way to really kind of take that, strategy where it's way up here and really organize it and put it into a system that's easy to understand and, more importantly, easy to implement, because that's the key. If it's not easy to implement, then, a lot of times it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I know that I have some clients who tell me, that social media stresses them out, that they know they've got to use it if they want to get more exposure, they want to showcase their work. They just don't know how to use Instagram or Facebook to show what they do. So I definitely, or even Pinterest, because I think as interior designers, Pinterest, we spent our entire days on Pinterest.
Yes.
So it sure is an important place to be. And so basically, so you offer services, like one-on-one services where you manage their accounts. And then you also create courses that people can take and try to do it themselves.
Right. Yeah. So we offer complete management services. So this is for somebody who's like, I don't want to do it, take it off my plate. So we do that. We also offer strategy. And the strategy service is really for people who want to either do it themselves or keep it in-house, but they just need that clear direction. So we work with them. One of the biggest parts of this framework is, and I think what makes it a lot different from other courses and other things that you'll see out there, is really laying a very solid marketing foundation. It's got to start with that solid foundation. And there's a lot of time and effort that goes into it. But when all that is figured out, it makes everything else so much easier and things just kind of fall into place. So I've basically taken what I do, for my one-on-one clients and what I do with my strategy clients, and I've put it into a course. So anybody can go through it and basically, figure out their strategy and then also how to implement it. And that was another thing, strategy is really, it's very theoretical, but I wanted to make sure that anybody could take, the idea of the strategy and implement it. So there's the part where, yes, we're going to figure out exactly what needs to happen, but then I'm going to show you how to actually go in and do that, from writing your captions, from using hashtags effectively, utilizing different formats. So reels and, obviously posts. We touch on stories and IGTVs. So I know it sounds like a lot, but it's definitely broken up and very systemized so that it's easy to follow.
Yeah, and How long is the course? Like, is it self-paced? I mean, people can do it whenever they want, or do you have live sessions as well?
So the course, it's self-paced, and I'm not really sure how long it takes to go through it. I actually have to
Or
go back and look at it.
how many modules, how many lessons do you have? Do you know
Sure.
approximately how many hours?
Yes. So from start to finish, it should not take more than just a few hours to go through. I mean, and that's on the long end of it. But there's 4 different modules, and then within each module, there are lessons within that. But the first module is the biggest because that is the plan phase. So this is where that marketing foundation, where that goes. But that's where, you get really crystal clear on what your goals are, and not only what those goals are, but what has to happen in order for you to reach that goal. How are you going to use social media to reach that goal? And then how are you going to track it? Because, you don't want to be putting time and effort into something that you can't measure and see if it's working or not. So, so we work on the goals. We get really deep into identifying who our ideal client is and creating an ideal client avatar so that we're able to speak their language and really attract them. We look at content pillars. So messaging is always very clear and concise. Everybody's going to know, hey, this is what this brand is all about. And then, then we go into creating, and that's where we actually take what we've done with in the plan section, and we're actually going to create it. So we put together that content calendar, and then we really start creating, those posts. We kind of get into the details of what it should look like whenever you're creating that post and what needs to be included. The third module is all about optimization. So this is where we're going to be looking at hashtags. We're going to be looking at tagging other accounts, just strategies and ways that you can increase your visibility. So, it's more effective than just cranking out content. We want to optimize that content so that it reaches more people. And then finally, tracking. So again, we go back to our goals and how we were going to track that. And we get into the analytics. Sometimes people are really afraid to get into the numbers, but the numbers are so helpful and there's so much information in there. So we take a look at those and track, what has been working, how to figure out what that actually is, and how to implement that going forward. So it's really about a way to teach people to every month be able to easily go in and create that content calendar, then start creating the content and then track it, and then just keep moving forward with that.
How long does it take you to plan a month of content, out of curiosity?
Honestly, not very long at all. Because one of the things that we do, you can sit down, I would say in an hour, you can plan your content. And one of the things that we do also that I feel is unique that I haven't seen a lot of other courses or anybody who teaches social media do is come up with a content bank. And that's something that we do in the plan phase. So we take all of that information about our ideal client, about our content pillars, and we break it up into ideas. So you have all of these ideas sitting in a bank. And then you can basically pluck those and just put them into your calendar.
Yeah.
And go.
But I think it's funny when you were explaining it, it's exactly like having a business. If you don't have a clear strategy, if you don't set yourself goals, like whether they're 3 months goals or 6 months or 1 year, 10 years, whatever they are, it's very hard to know what you should be doing because you don't have a clear strategy of how you're going to get there. And it sounds like, at a smaller level, social media is the same. You need to have a clear idea of where you want to get to, then come up with the strategy. And it really does feel like your course is the foundation. It explains to you the basics of how you should be doing it. And then you can just repeat the process over and over again.
Yes. Yeah. That's all that it is. I'm very process oriented. I like systems and processes and procedures. And I know that that's not something, especially with creative business owners, that's not always something that they are able to kind of pull down and put a system into place. So that's really what I've done is put that system into place. So it's a lot easier just to, and to commit to it. And because you know exactly what needs to be done.
And it's way more stressful when you don't have a clear strategy, because you're like, oh my God, what am I going to post this week? You don't have a clear idea of what you should be showing your audience, especially if you haven't taken the time to understand who you're doing the content for. But I think I've made a lot of progress on this, just setting a day where I kind of look at the entire month of what topics I want to tackle, and then go into each week and have a proper session where I actually plan. So one session where I plan the month, and then a weekly session where I look at the days of the week, and I just create on Canva. I write the captions, and then I schedule them on Planoly. And it feels so much better when you know that, the week is done. Like, I just have to show up on stories now, because everything is taken care of. So it's a really good feeling when you know where you're going. You can plan in advance and not, a year ago, I remember that I was doing everything at the last minute. I was literally on that day, I was like, oh my God, I need to post. What am I going to post about? And this is the worst way to go about it.
It is. And honestly, it's more time consuming that way. Whenever you can sit down, and that's something also that is covered in the course, is batch creating and how to batch create that content. And when you can actually sit down and you kind of get in the flow of, creating, picking out your images, writing your captions, you're actually more efficient with your time. And then it gives you time to focus on other things, whether, because business is more than social media. It's just supposed to be a little part of it, but it can be, if you're not organized and if you're not clear on your direction, it can take up a ton of your time. And then what I've seen happen is that leads to inconsistency, and it leads to overwhelm, where people just don't use it at all. Or there's frustration because there is a lot of time and effort being put into it, but the results aren't there.
Yeah, that's true. And then you need to think about reels are doing well. So are you putting some of those reel templates that you told me about?
Yes. There are a ton of resources in the course. So there's a hashtag bank for interior designers. There's over 200 hashtags. And we're constantly looking at those, making sure that those are up to date. There are caption templates for designers. So sometimes it's hard to kind of just come up with the words. So we put templates in there. Yes, there will be reels templates in there. Sometimes it just need a little bit of that push to kind of get going. So those kind of resources will be in there. We're also going to cover, how to repurpose content. An interior designer's job is not constantly, you're not a content creator, but you can go back and what we show you how to do is repurpose that content. So it's not like having to come up with a brand new idea every single time you post.
Yeah, and people have to remember that not everyone is going to be reading all of your posts. So it's better, to either take it as is or just change it a little bit. But the message, shouldn't be completely new every time.
Right.
But yes, so that's amazing. And this is just for Instagram. You're not going to talk about Pinterest or Facebook, right?
No, it's not on Pinterest. What we do cover is how to cross post from Instagram to Facebook. And that's usually what we do with all of our clients. And I'll show you, I have tools. I'm sharing all the tools that, we use that help make the whole process a lot easier.
So you think it's actually okay to use what you post on Instagram and just post it as well on your Facebook page? It doesn't have to be completely different content.
No, it does not have to be completely different content. Now, I would say if most of your business comes from Facebook, then you might want to look at maybe something that's a stronger Facebook strategy. Yeah. But for the most part, the designers that we work with, Instagram is their platform, and Instagram is it's just a little bit, I don't want to say user-friendly. I'm trying to think of the best word for it. It's just a better fit because it's it's such a visual platform. It's just a better fit for, designers and any other, creative business owners.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, I mean, it sounds like this course is going to be really good for those designers who have trouble showing up on Instagram on a consistent basis. And if they really don't want to have to deal with any of it, they can still work with you one-on-one. Yeah, I'm excited. And when does this course come out?
So I am opening the waitlist for the course on October 1st, and then the doors open on October 15th. So if you get on the wait list, there will be bonuses. So it's definitely worth it to get in there. I also want to mention too that part of this course, whenever you sign up for the course, there is a Facebook group that goes with it. So, you know, you're going to have questions, and I want to be able to help support, you know, anybody who goes through it. So that's what the Facebook community is all about. I'll be in there live monthly to ask, you know, to answer questions. Also, once you're in the course, we all know Instagram is all social media is notorious for changing, adding new features. So once you have access to the course, you have access to the course for life. So if something changes, the course will be updated, and you know, you'll have access to those updates.
That's amazing. Yeah, it changes. It sounds like it changes quite a lot all the time. So it's great to have this Facebook community to ask questions directly. And where can people get on the wait lists?
They can go to my website, so www.swinksocialco.com, and go to the courses page, and it will take you to the wait list, and you can get signed up.
That's amazing. And can you just give us your Instagram? And then I think I don't have any.
Yeah, definitely. Connect with me on Instagram. That's swink.social.co.
Great. So I'll just also write it down below. It was great to have you. I'm so excited for this course. I will definitely check your website to see what's going on. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
For showing up in your house.